Okay, we're recording. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. And if we have a roll call. Bjorman. Here. Kestner. Here. Lee. Absent. Person. Here. Rich.
Present.
Sanju.
Present.
Okay, and we. Here. Okay. I declare that we have a quorum. Yeah. Okay, and then also let the record show that Beverly Tucker Knight and Assistant Director Donna Chance are here as well.
And Maxine.
And Maxine Wild. Okay, next order of business, written communication.
We do not have any written communication.
Okay.
Can you hear me when I talk? Okay.
Okay, hearing from citizens. Don, do we see anyone? There's no one in the room. Do you see anyone who else is logged in via Zoom?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we will get that 3 minutes back. So we have a lot of minutes to approve. We have the ones from August 18th. The one from September 22nd. And the one from October, or September 29th. Are there any corrections, or has anybody read those? Or is there anything, any comments on them? If not, move that we approve the minutes of the August 18th, September 22nd, and September 29th meetings. So all in favor?
There needs to be a motion.
Oh.
Someone makes the motion.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Feuerman?
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Or do we need to do a roll call? Is it
No.
official?
No roll call.
Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing no opposition, I will then move to the next order of business, which is the annual election of folks for this group. The first one is for the chair. So I will open the floor to nominations for the chair, and do I hear any nominations?
Jim?
Nominate Jim Person for chair.
Sue? Jim, I nominate you stay in the position for continuity, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you, thank you. Are there any other nominations? Now, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor of Jim Person as chair for the 2021 to 2022 chair of the Parks Commission, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, I will declare it passed. Yes?
Congratulations.
Okay, I'm out here. So for the vice chair, for the past year, it has been Keisha Lee. I would open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the Parks Commission. And I believe that we have had noticed that Keisha, if she is nominated, will.
Oh, that's correct. I forgot to say that. I apologize. Keisha emailed to say that she had to be out of town today. She said if she were nominated for anything, she would accept.
So I saw your hand up. Nominate Travis. All right. Okay, have we not, she's. Okay, are there other nominations? Well, I guess the first question is, Travis, will you take it? So nominated.
Yeah, I take it.
Okay, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will close nominations. We'll call it to a vote. All those in favor of Travis Neal as vice chair of the Parks Commission for 2021 and 2022, please say aye.
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 Opposed? So ordered. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next order of business is the director's. Beverly?
Great. Take 1 minute.
Are you going to,
I'm gonna
share
share
a
my,
screen?
yeah. I'm gonna share my- Quick minute. Okay. Choose the right screen. That is difficult for some reason. I think it's so too many things open. I apologize. Technology is a wonder. Okay, here we go. Let's try this one more time. Share screen. Oh, got it. Okay. There we go. Okay, so first up is our Parks for Pollinators BioBlitz report. Woo-hoo. So right now you are seeing behind the scenes on the details of our BioBlitz. So we are BioBlitz, to recap, our BioBlitz ran from September 10th to September 30th. It was co-sponsored with Olive and Bloom. And it's our very first time that we participated. The parent organization of it, since we did the Parks for Pollinators BioBlitz, is the National Parks and Recreation Association. And they ran it nationwide. Now, hundreds of Parks and Recreation departments participated. In the St. Louis region, only we participated with St. Charles County Parks. And St. Charles County Parks beat the pants off of us. But for our first year, I think we did really well. So we had 202 total observations, 105 species were identified. We had 42 scientists verifying our findings, and we had 12 observers. So I'm going to show you our stats. So of those, we had of our observations, 43% of them were research grade, meaning that they qualify the photography, the site, everything that the observation was done correctly was able to be verified. So it will automatically be it will automatically go into any research programs that are specific to that species. So really well done for us. We're still waiting on a couple of them that need confirmation. We have about 49% that still need. They need more than one confirmation by another scientist. And then of our species, we had 81% that were plants, and we had 19 that were insects. And of our insects, which is pretty cool, our number one species was the eastern bumblebee. It's tied with the western bumblebee, and the eastern bumblebee is having a very serious collapse, and could potentially end up on the endangered species list. So for us to have it be our number one species, that's pretty darn cool. And it's differentiated from the honeybee because the honeybee is an introduced species. It's not native. So we can go through.
A quick question on that.
Yes.
Was it all, were these all observations in Stacy and the prairie?
No, they're all over the place. So the parameters for this project were the city limits of the city of all of that. So when you go in here, you can go into iNaturalist, so you can look at our it's gonna take a quick minute. You can see, let's see. This is everybody's sightings here, but I can go back and show you where our sightings came occurred, and you can tell. Let me find it. Let's see, where's my map? Where's the map? Here we go. So here's the map. If we zoom in, you can kind of tell where people live based on where the observations, and this does show you a park. So we have a lot of Worson Park, we have a lot at Stacy, and then we have other ones throughout all of that. And those are oftentimes around the house of someone who's an observer. So here is Worson Park. So you see all these red ones right here? That's Jasmine Sardi's house. So she's a top user and naturalist, which makes sense because she's a biologist. Then you can see how the observations go down the trail here. So you can kind of follow the patterns. You come over here. Somebody lives right here. A lot of observations there. And you come over to Stacy, look at that. Majority of them were the olive and blue garden here, and then a lot over here at the pond. And then some on the hiking trail here. So it's kind of fascinating. I can't wait to do this again next year and see if we get growth in it. We learned a lot about it. I have a recap with all of the blue at the board meeting in December where we talk about pointers for next year. One of the things that was really hard is we picked it off during party in the park, and we haven't had a live band for many years, and no one here. So it was really hard to instruct people on how to use it. And then we're also hoping in the coming years that we can tie in with the schools, and we can be part of it as well. It typically happens in the spring. Yeah, the pandemic shifted everything around and happened in the fall this year, and that's not exactly the best time for all of them, for some of our stuff. So anyway, so it's I thought it was a great success for our very first time, and we have the potential. We could create a project that doesn't end, that's specifically for all of it if we wanted to. Anytime if people join our project, but then they have to actually join our project. If you aren't looking specifically in our project and you just want to look at all of that, you can do that as well. You can. Are all of you familiar with iNaturalist? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I show you, so here's this is the department profile. So I have my personal profile, and then we have the department profile that anybody in the department can put observations up on. And it's pretty cool because you can take a look around the map and see where people are looking at things. So this is. I'm more used to it on my phone than I am here, so I apologize, I can't immediately show you the map, but when you go in on the app on your phone and you look at all of that, you have an incredible number of observations and all of that. It's a good bright spot on the campus. I anticipate things will just keep growing. Are there any questions? Parks Festival Blue Bash. So let me show you, we have some beautiful photographs. We had a great crowd. We were concerned because you remember we had to postpone it because of the horrible rain. We lost a lot of our vendors because they were already booked in reserved dates. When we set up events, we typically do not do a rain date because the vendors require that you pay the rain date. So you pay the full fee for the original date, and then you pay a rain date fee for them to hold it for you because they're losing money if they don't. If they keep that date just for you. So it does make it problematic for us, but I'm very proud that Megan was able to scramble and get it together. We did it on a weeknight instead of a weekend, and we still had a good crowd. The haunted trail was a flex, so we definitely are going to bring that back next year. We already have ideas to keep the current haunted trail the way it is for the younger kids, and then have older kids be able to continue down the rest of the trail and not have a lot of the fun cutesy things in there, but have it be very frightening on the further one down. And basically it will be real people staged in there in costumes, and then not have a lot of lights in there. So I think it could be really cool. I was at the end of the trail, and when people tried to go past me on the closed part, I would step out, and that scared more people than anything could have did. Yeah, that was the
Kids.
yeah, it
Is
did.
that the cottonwood tree?
No.
No. We're not gonna put anything on the top. it's too,
Okay.
too valuable.
Right.
Gotta be careful, yeah. So the s'mores were a big hit, the popcorn was a big hit. We did, so some of the things in there are quite frightening. Definitely heard a lot of screens in there. All the crafts were well attended. God, I love those pictures so much. It's so great. It was great. It was really, really good. I didn't see the costume contest.
Neither did I.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was really good. And the fire department was in charge of the s'mores. And that was wonderful. Yeah, it was really good. Here, there's another great picture of these. There's two friends that were in the B shirts. Let's see if I can find it. They had a really cute picture where the boys are smiling. I think it's this one. Yeah, no, it's not the one before. No, it was very good. It was very good. That's adorable. There were some families there that had never made s'mores before, so that's pretty exciting. Very, very exciting.
Food covers there, how was that? Amazing.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really well done.
Yeah. Okay, so our Eagle Scout bat box project is complete, and I realized I don't have any photos of the bat boxes. There is one on the Worcester Park Trail that I see up front and center all the time. The environmental review, the EAR just occurred down at Indian Meadows, and one of the things they're looking for in advance of the greenway going through there is identifying if there are bats nesting or bat homes along the repair in there, because that would determine when construction happens. So I'm excited to hear back. I don't want it to delay our project, but it would be great if we found out we had a bat home. That would be really good. So I'm very excited to hear that on that. If we do have a bat colony, there's a window where we do tree removals. You just have to do it once the bats have left the nest and there's more. So it'd be pretty exciting if we had a problem.
And the Eagle Scout is taking care of the maintenance. What's the maintenance plan on that?
Not much. The houses he selected have a very long lifespan because they have, they're not just plain wood. So do you remember?
Yeah, the shell of it is wood, but the roof of it is a compressed plastic, like recycled plastic. And then he painted the outside of it with like 5-year outdoor paint, so.
So
But
is there anything that the park staff needs to do in terms of?
No.
No, it's a lot less maintenance than bird boxes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn it over to Dawn to talk about basketball and what's going on with basketball.
oh boy, basketball is kind of it's a touchy thing with the school district either not allowing us to be in there and or their teams to even practice with in their own gyms. So therefore, there's not a really good turnout for basketball. And the teams that we are having sign up, we're seeing that they have access to their own gym. That's not with a school district. That's allowing their own signups. So we're finalizing some numbers. We thought we were closing it off yesterday or today, I should say, and we had another conversation. We're going to talk. We've talked with Clayton to see if we can get some type of, can we play? We've got one team. Can they send teams to play us? Or the Maplewood Richmond Heights Youth Sports Association. We're talking with them to see if we can get something with them. But there's nothing real definite. But it is dramatically lower than what we wanted. And not part of it was people would call us and say, well, where are you going? Where are you going to play at? And we didn't know that until Tuesday this week or yesterday. So
So just for background, typically what happens is when we play basketball, the young kids are in our gym and the older kids are in the Spady gym at Ladue School District. But this year, Ladue School District was unable to give us gym space. Ladue is under construction and they are moving all their own people all around. So that's where kind of the uncertainty came from. But Dawn and Corey did a great job reaching out to alternative locations. And for the first time, we'll be using the Hillcrest School, which is on Grandview, right across from Park Nursery. They're a very small gym. Miriam Academy is very interested in partnering with us, but they will not allow people in their gym during the pandemic right now. They're just too concerned about that. And then also Dawn heard today that Clayton District may be pulling out as well based on if pandemic numbers.
yeah,
rise.
they're going to make a decision in December if they're even going to allow their own basketball league to happen. So it's kind of an odd thing, but our micro basketball, which is our pre-K, our kindergarten and pre-K, that has 42 kids signed up in it. So that's perfect. We're going to go with that for sure. First and second grade, kind of sitting around 4 teams, but other than that, it's like 1 team per grade per gender. So it's tough, but we're trying to make what we can happen without A, breaking the pocketbook, or B, having a bad league, just because even a 4-team league is gonna get old after 6 weeks. So,
Absolutely.
What's your ideal number per grade? Are you looking?
I mean, if in a perfect world, you could have, 9 teams, because you play 8 weeks, you play everybody once. But 8's great. But you can run a league with 4. It's just, my team's playing yours the first week, and then the 4th week, we're gonna play each other again. And then the 7th week, we're gonna play each other again. So it's not any fun to play the same teams over, once, perfect, twice, okay, 3 times, coaches, parents, players don't like it, especially if it's a mismatch. And how do we know? We have no clue until the first game is played. We're like, oh boy, so.
Digging on that, every sports YMCA is the same problem.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, so we were hopeful that we would try and be able to make every division go, but with Ladue schools not allowing, not only us, but their own groups use their own facilities, where are they going to practice?
Yeah, I'd say it's a perfect storm between
Yeah.
pandemic and.
Yeah, so,
But next year, we will have our own gym. And we won't have to worry about it at all. It'll be fantastic. But the other thing to think about too is that we may have to cancel the gym if pandemic numbers rise. And we'll have to cancel this.
Yeah.
So right now, the kids will wear masks while they're playing. But we could get to the point that we still have to cancel it just because of virus.
What's the impact on fee income? In terms of I'm trying to figure out what the dependencies are there in our overall.
So I mean, the cost of the gym is $50 an hour. If you put 2 officials out, you're looking at anywhere between $40 to $50 a game. And then jerseys are around $12. And we're giving them a basketball.
So what's the net that we
We try and break even.
try to break
We
even?
try to cover our costs.
Doesn't sound like it's,
If we actually ran some numbers today and passed them in front of Bev, and we can make it with a certain group, and if we go beyond that, and even with other teams cycling in to play us, then we start losing.
So for the micro basketball, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Doing more than break even. The younger grades, no problem. It's when we get up into the older grades where we have very small team numbers, then we start to lose money. So, I have a feeling that we're gonna pull it back to
Yeah.
just be micro and younger grades.
Yeah, that's kind of the suggestion that we're really looking at. I told Corey, sleep on it. We're at a conference tomorrow. Him and I will talk about it. And
Shoes at the conference. you never know.
I do. You know I do.
And all of a sudden, Maryland Heights might say, hey,
Yeah.
you just don't know.
Well, I don't even think they run there only, but still,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I mean, my heart tells me one thing, my gut just is like telling me another. So
Are we thinking the decline is strictly COVID related?
I hope. I mean, youth sports in the recreation setting is on the decline anyway, because club sports reach so far into, all facets, so the kids that were only playing CYC are now playing club. They might only play club for fall or, for their season of whatever that sport is, but they're now, club teams are, reaching into, our realm and taking anybody that can walk and chew bubble gum.
So it
And
used to be that clubs were a very high echelon.
yeah, we had to try out for
And
it.
you have to try out for them, but now there's such a saturation in the club market that anyone can play club. There's now different levels, so some parents just prefer to go to club and not do recreation, but youth sports past the 3rd grade, no matter whether it's club, select, or rec, is on the
It's-
decline
yeah.
nationwide.
It's down.
That's shocking.
Yeah. I mean, why play football or soccer or baseball when you can do it on an Xbox or
Yeah, so,
PlayStation?
but esports is, what they're finding with esports is, it doesn't stop at 3rd grade, it actually is higher and keeps going. And there's a lot of research in it, trying to figure out what's going on, so part of it is the popularity of esports. Part of it is also kids getting burnt out at a very young age, particularly if they're playing the same sport year round.
Yeah.
So, and then we, at the same time, we have the parents, the sportsmanship of the spectators in these sports has plummeted. And it's very hard for leagues to get referees
Yeah.
or officials because no one wants to take the abuse that's
Yeah.
going on out there. It is pretty awful.
There is a nationwide shortage and it's even affecting here in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
The city of Clayton couldn't find officials for 9 of their games that they had at our fields. My kid plays club soccer. We had a tournament canceled and a league game canceled because there was no officials. So it's one of those things.
Should this be in our long-term planning, something to consider a replacement for these types of activities in our overall offerings or?
Well, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on our radar.
Yeah.
We, as you all know, we've been exploring non-traditional sports, so cricket, lacrosse, those types of activities, those are growth sports right now. We do think that with a professional team of soccer coming to St. Louis, we're gonna have a little bit of a halo effect from that. And we're starting esports in the new center. So we're gonna kind of look at that. The other thing long-term we wanna do is, as we engage with our residents, find out what are you really looking for. So that's something that we're working on with our camps. We're gonna do a focus groups with our parents to find out, why do you put your kids in camp and what are you looking for? Rather than just saying, hey, do you like our camp? We wanna kind of look at a lot of different things and say, what are you looking for? And sports is one of them too, is that, we find out from parents, what do you really want? And make sure that our offerings are matching what they want. And that's something that now that we're starting to have a more robust staff and more people to do that kind of work, and that'll really help us.
Yeah, and Corey just finished soccer last weekend, and he talked to every coach, every game, before the game and after the game. The coaches know him by name, by face. They call him during the week. He's building a great rapport, and the things that he's seeing is 3rd grade and above is our weakness. 3rd grade and below that's our bread and butter. That's our sweet spot. And maybe we just only start doing that, but offer other options, other partnerships that for a third grade or fourth grade or fifth grade teams to go to XYZ to play. And that's where just, making what can work together. Kirkwood, I had it all set up with Kirkwood to try and bridge that with soccer, and they didn't end up having soccer because of the pandemic. So, but that's the only youth sport that they run for now. But we've got talks coming in December with a lot of the municipalities for a Metro Flag Football League that happen in the summer. So those types of non-traditional things and outside of the box things that, we hope that we can capitalize on what we can get when we can get it. So.
Right. And again, looking at, what's our mission? What do our residents want? We don't want to offer baseball because we've always offered baseball and it's, America's pastime and you have to have baseball. We want to offer baseball because that's what our residents want their kids playing. So that's, we need to make sure that we're paying attention to that.
So as we move to esports, I know we've made provision for it in the community center. What is the ramp up plan on that?
Well, with esports, there's 2 different ways it goes, 3 different ways it goes. The first way is we have the esports lounge where kids can come in and play esports. Then there are online tournament options that are agencies out there that organize it for you. And our residents come in through us and it's an organized play. And it's monitored and supervised and like all the chat that happens, they keep a log of it. So it's very well sanctioned and examined. And St. Louis is a hotbed in esports. A lot of the national champions the universities are here. So I think Maryville, Mobac, they've all won
Wash U.
national. Pardon?
Wash.
Yeah, Wash U, they've all won national titles. So this is a real hotbed of esports here. Then the third way is we host tournaments ourselves in person in the gym. And that is a big logistical thing. We'll have to grow into that. We won't be able to start that right off the bat, but that is something that we potentially do. And there are, it's blossoming all over the United States. So there's all over the world. There's frameworks out there for us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. One of the big operators for the online tournaments for middle school and high school is in St. Louis, and they came out of our universities. I'm blanking on the name.
Mission Control.
Mission Control, yeah. So, and they have city rec department leads specific. So we'll be ready to go on that.
Great. Okay. But, yeah, I just said okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if there are
Yeah. Any other questions on that?
Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next item. So, pretty fun. We started our first eradication of Bradford pears. So the first thing we did is we took down all the Bradford pears at the community center. And it felt really good, really good. You can't even really tell that they're gone. The other thing is we did outreach for it. We put signs out to tell people why we were taking the Bradford pears down. And no one called, no one can buy and talk to it. So I don't know if that's because people didn't care or people know that Bradford pears are #2 invasive species in the state. I'm not really sure, but Olive and Bloom is thrilled. They're so happy. They're already looking at ways they're gonna beef up their garden in the coming year because there's more sun in there. So the coneflowers are gonna do a lot better. So this is our first removal. This is the community center. This was a heavy concentration we had of Bradford pears. We have some Bradford pears at Willow Park. We're going to hold off taking those down until Willow Park goes into renovations. And then we have a series of Bradford pears that are going to come down at Stacy as part of the parking lot modifications that happen there. So we have Bradford pears and ash right in the same spot. So those will be coming out as part of the renovations there. These ones we did pay for ourselves because this is an area that's not touched by the park renovations. And then in the area along where you can't really see here, can you see my cursor? Should I put my cursor there? Okay.
Yep.
So these three right here and this tree right here are in that front circle in the front of the community center. Behind over here, along the driveway, was a whole row of Bradford pears that were all removed. In that section along the fence line, Brian's going to be putting in a pollinator garden there, a native pollinator garden, and it'll be replacing that pollinator garden that's in the front of the community center right now, and that's our little monarch nursery. This year we had about 20 monarchs make the full metamorphosis there, and Ed Kastner actually took four home. Ed took 4 home and made sure they were kind of getting to the end of the milkweed production. So that'll be a nice expansion for us, because when the community center is torn down, that garden is going to get hurt. So we want to make sure that we have a replacement of that coming in now, because it takes a little while for that milkweed to really take off. So that'll be a beautiful addition to that. Yes.
Beverly, do you know if the city got access to Ameren dollars for strategic tree removal in and around power lines or?
Well,
So
Ameren
nice.
comes in and does a lot of work on all the power lines in the parks. We have not used Ameren dollars ourselves to take them down. It's something we could explore, but we're not doing it. Next up, seasonal park operations. So all the restrooms are closed for the winter except Stacy Park, which stays open year round. So that one's going. We're replacing the heaters in there because they've reached the end of their lifespan. We have to have heaters for the price increase. So we're trying to replace the thermostats. We may have to replace the heaters.
Right now, they stay on full blast.
And we're really
It's-
excited.
it is a sauna in
Cameron
there.
loves that.
It is a
Yeah,
sauna
it's
in
a
there.
sign. Yeah, but I'm just more worried that it's dangerous. So we had a heating company out there today, Don's been working on that. We have big trucks are getting converted over for snow operations, big green trucks getting a spreader on it. The park crew is ramping up. We've got our ice melt. We're trying to find a source of grit so that we can use grit in some of our areas instead of salt. So we're still exploring that. We don't have a viable option. We also don't have a place to store it. But when the new park operations are built, we'll have a place to store it. So that is something that we're really looking forward to, particularly as the parks are renovated and we have all these beautiful new plantings. We don't want to be putting salt all through those beds.
You
So-
say storing salt or storing the grit.
Storing the grit. Storing the grit. Yes.
And the machine to spread it.
Is there not space to public works,
No, not at all.
even in the parking lot across?
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, Weed Warriors update and fall newsletter. Did everyone receive the Weed Warriors newsletter? Awesome, okay, so I won't share that with you. But I do wanna say that we had our first Weed Warrior Day at Irvside Park, and it sounds like it was a raging success. Unfortunately, I was sitting at the groundbreaking, but I understand you had almost 15 people?
I would say 12.
12,
15,
okay.
yeah.
12 to 15.
And I have not forwarded pictures to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great, okay, I'll show those at the next meeting, so, and they did quite a bit of removal, so that's amazing. We need to set our future locations for Weed Warriors. Brian and I will work on that next week, because as the parks go into renovations, there are gonna be areas where we're not gonna be able to work, so. That may allow us to do some work along the pathway, which we really wanna do, so that's pretty exciting. And we found out today that the sewer district is going to be doing some honeysuckle clearing along the pathway. They never tell us, but Gerald Axelbaum, one of our volunteers, ran into them working and got the scoop. So that's very exciting. So Gerald has come up with a way that since he's talking to the guys actually doing the work, as they come through and do the cutting and clearing, he can come through with volunteers and do fresh cuts and paint with the glyphosate so it doesn't come back. Because the sewer district just clears, they don't treat, we're trying to do it. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm very grateful that he made that connection.
So a question on these groups, because I mean, St. Louis City Water, sewer district, Amron's more the tree side of the world. What can we do to better coordinate with those organizations to?
Well, if you could figure that out, Bruce McGregor would be thrilled. So-
I mean, it seems like such a logical thing.
It does.
And that's,
It does.
and we're not the only municipality that has that same issue.
It's a regional problem.
They have that easement, they have that right away, they're gonna go through it whether you know about it or not,
Yes.
is their take.
I'm thinking just notification.
Yeah,
Yes.
we agree, we would totally agree.
I mean, the pathway project that happened last year is a prime example. We knew for 4 years that they were gonna replace that water line and the sewer line. Bruce beat his head against the wall trying to get the dates on it, and all of a sudden they showed up one day out of the blue and just
And they did it.
tore up the pathway, and we didn't even know.
Yeah.
Same thing happened, my mother-in-law's house in Ladue. They're getting all new water pipes. They didn't know until the crews showed up on a Friday and started laying down all the pipes. And then the city didn't know, Ladue didn't know. So it's a regional problem, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems, it defies logic.
Yeah.
It does.
And
it
it's not
does.
just one utility that does it.
Right, no, I mean,
It's like they all went to the same school to learn how to not talk.
No, it's sad, and you can talk about the fracture of services because there are so many municipalities, but communication goes both ways, and it just, it's the way it is. So, but we do try, Bruce works really hard to establish rapport with these agencies. He was very successful in relocating the sewer project out of the middle of Mills Park. We're still gonna have work in there, but he did a very good job on that, so, we're lucky because we have Bruce, but it is an ongoing issue with everyone. And, Aaron, sometimes they'll tell me when they're coming and sometimes.
Because all of these companies have capital budgets that they're working on, and so, okay.
They do.
I don't want to belabor it.
Okay,
So we have two things if I could.
sure.
So number one, Jen, did you talk to her about when we were uncovering honeysuckle, the meter that was there that just kind of thrown there and?
Yeah, there's a meter at Curbside.
What kind of?
The one that's in the back,
It's an electric meter.
the one that's in the back on the pole,
Yeah, it looks like a temporary meter.
that's our job pole.
What?
All the electric for the park comes into that pole and then into the ground and then,
Yeah, but one of the things that we noticed was that I don't know how to read one of those, I mean, there's numbers, but there was some activity going on that meter.
We've asked for them to work on it because it's had problems.
Well, what I'm
No.
more concerned about is, there didn't appear to be, I mean, the restrooms were closed, there's no lights, it should be zero.
Shouldn't be going like this.
it will always,
Oh,
it-
eliminate this
yeah,
or-
it will
I mean,
always
we
spin.
talked about it.
Yeah.
We get a water bill and electrical bill year round.
No, I understand, I understand.
It's just the connectivity, so it will always spin. It will spin and count faster if, we flip on a light or,
I'd also throw out there too, now that we cleared that area, this kind of, just for lack of a better word, derelict, haphazard looking setup there is now
It's-
exposed. So
it's,
just-
yeah,
I'm just gonna
and
put
it's,
that out there.
yeah.
Somebody,
and we have a plan. Bruce has a new pole for us to put in, but we have, whenever we do the renovations there, we'll put the new pole in and then have it, we have to transfer everything from the old pole to the new pole. So,
And the other observation that we had is we were taking honeysuckle out, we worked back to the fence. And we saw the survey stakes, that there seemed to be some property down the hill there.
Yes.
And so the question is, should we be doing
You mean
honeysuckle around?
behind the fence.
Yeah, behind the
Yeah.
fence, and then how far down can we go, because the survey stakes are probably between 2 and 4 feet behind that,
Yeah.
but I don't know who owns the hillside. And
Yeah.
the reason about that is that stuff was growing over into the park.
That hillside's owned by the house below. So there's a house right
Yeah,
there.
no, I mean, okay,
Yeah, so we cannot clear on land that's not ours.
okay.
We're not allowed to do that.
I think the point is that look at the service and we have land beyond the fence.
We do,
But
but
we're not
just
allowed
2
to
feet.
clear there.
If we don't have an easement to cross that private property to get to our property, we
I see.
can't do that. We
Unless
have to
we're
go
going to-
over the fence.
Yeah, we can actually go.
We can take the fence sections out and go back and put it there. That's not a problem. The park crews take them out all the time. They'll take out a post and open it up and we can go back and do that work in there and then go back.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you bring volunteers in, you have to be absolutely careful because it can get very messy with us. It's trespass.
Okay.
Yeah,
My last comment,
sure.
and this is not that I have any pre-information though, but, we talk about cooperation and there's a trend, and we brought this up about when we have an event like this, that it's really not over until things are chipped and gone.
Correct.
And so we talked about, it'd be nice to have that chip there. We had one weed warrior, where the chipper was there on the day that, and it was all gone and it was great.
Yes.
And I don't know what keeps, I understand there's certain issues, but it seems to me that there still needs to be something there with coordination with public works or getting that chipper on time.
There is, I discussed it with Bruce. The chipper is going to be out front, not buried behind anything, out front. So anytime Brian wants to go and get it, he can go and get it.
Well, that's a big win,
So,
John. Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
So,
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
and it falls to the park
yeah,
staff,
right.
honestly, to take care of this mountain stuff, and you have all these volunteers that can at least drag it and
Yeah.
cut down that legwork and time
Yeah.
that they should be doing other city matters.
Yeah, absolutely, and we really wanna do that, and the Riverside chip pile, the pile is gonna stay there till after. And we just can't send anybody over there, so, but the other thing that I'm considering too is I have to be very careful with this, but, we have extra park person now, so it could be that I assign 2 people to do inventories. So we just have to tread lightly with that, it's a good shift in operations, but that's something that I'm thinking about. Let me show you very quickly. We have a major win out, are you still see, I need to share my screen. We have a major win in our new programming at Stacy Park, 2 major wins. The first is that we had our first stargazing party. It was incredibly well attended, we had over 60 people. So look at the side of that telescope. These are pictures that were taken by one of the volunteers using his new iPhone, so they look kind of red because they were long exposures, but it was 100% dark. And I just can't get over how well the iPhone is taking pictures at night. So there are some, now this is my iPhone, so you can see this is before it got, but it was amazing. We saw the rings of Saturn, we saw the stripes on Jupiter, we saw 4 Jupiter moons. It was fantastic, and people loved it. This is the sun going down, there's the moon and Venus. So it was a beautiful, beautiful night, and the astronomers from St. Louis Astronomical Society were just absolutely thrilled. And they can't wait to come out again. So that was great. We will be setting up more. The other thing that I want to share with you is we worked with the police department to figure out a way to allow people to stargaze in Stacy Park year round. Because probably all of you know, the best viewing is when the air is cold. So wintertime is prime viewing because there isn't as much distortion from heat, from moisture and things. Also, a lot of the big celestial things that happen really late at night, like between midnight and dawn. A lot of the meteor showers, that's when they're peak and things like that. And Stacy, all of the city parks are closed from dusk to dawn. So what we have worked out with the police department is that anyone can go and stargaze in Stacy Park year round from dusk to dawn. And there are criteria laid out for the patrol officers so they can help this happen. So the number 1, people have to walk into the park or park in the parking lot. Number two, they have to have some sort of astrological thing with them. So either a stargazing app on their phone, a physical star chart, binoculars, monocle, telescope, and then they have to be in the field. They can't go off into the woods, they can't go wander around the prairie, they have to be in that field. They also have to keep it quiet after 10 o'clock, and have, hushed voices. And then we also are asking that people use red lights and not bright flashlights and not keep their headlights on the car. So far, we've had a couple of people do it. It's been wonderful. So we had a little trial period. We're gonna start pushing that information out because when Stacy was first designated an urban dark sky place, immediately some astronomers went in there and the cops chased them. So now we have a framework and we're very excited about that. So, and because of that, we're now leaving the restrooms unlocked 24/7. Because we can't invite people into the park and then not have restrooms for them, because I don't want them to do the commando somewhere in the park. So it's great. I'm really excited about it. And the St. Louis Astronomical Society is a great partner. They are going to set up more star parties for us to bring the public in. We're trying to work with Missouri Master Naturalist Program, start doing more night hikes and more night activities in the park too, to bring more people in and have another element to it. So we heard a lot of owls when we were out there. We've got we've got great horned owls, we've got barred owls, and we've heard another owl. We're not sure, maybe it was a screech owl. And I now have a sneaky suspicion that we've got some flying squirrels in the park. So it's very exciting. And they are only active at night, so we might be able to see them as well.
Will we have to close down Stacy completely, or are we going to do it in parts?
Well, that's to be determined. It really hinges on who the contractor is and how they structure it. So for example, at Warson, we thought we were gonna have to close the park 100%. But this contractor is very committed to keeping areas open, and they've been working with us. So we're not gonna have to close the playground immediately. We're gonna only close it when we take the building down. So it's, it really depends on who gets the bid, how they structure it, and then how the parks are assembled for the actual work. So I'm cautiously optimistic. Stacy, however, is all parts of it almost are being touched. We've got that new pathway going through the prairie, we've got the parking lot, we've got the restrooms, we've got the new pavilion.
There's a lot.
There's a lot going on there, and there's this chance that major portions of Stacy will be shut. But it depends. I mean, if they're working on the parking lot, then the back gate could be open and people could be all over the prairie. But if they're doing the prairie and the parking lot at the same time, we may have to only have parts of it open. People come in off the lawn and go back out, and whatever. So we won't know until we get further in.
Okay, an observation about Warson. There were some pretty sternly worded communications via the website
Yes.
and all of that.
And there's new signs that are very stern.
But what I'm hearing you say is that that's not necessarily true.
No, it's absolutely true. What's happened is there are sections of the park that are completely closed.
Right, no,
off.
I understand.
And they're
People
fenced
are
off.
going in there.
They're going into the fenced
People
area.
are continue to walk their dogs and take the fences.
Okay, so when you talk about the playground up for the community center, you don't consider that part of the Warson?
Well,
No.
it's part of Warson.
It's part of Warson.
Not part of the closed area.
But it's not behind a fence.
It's that.
There's
It's not
no
fenced.
fence.
Okay, so
We're talking about anyone that, if an area is fenced off for construction, we cannot go in it. Absolutely not.
and we're still getting people in there.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. We're in areas.
Yeah, or metal fencing, obviously.
Pardon me?
Metal fencing, because obviously some of the tree zones are like.
Well,
tree
people
zones still-
are stepping on the tree zones, which they're not supposed to, so we put new signs out there, we may have to make them higher. And then, people are coming in while construction is going on, they're driving into the site.
Yeah, but they've been used to doing it, and
They are, and they, regardless of all these giant signs and everything, they're still coming in, and we have no parking signs all along the driveway, people are still parking on the driveway. So right now, it's minimal activity, it's the earth movers doing clearing and tree removals, so it's, pretty benign. But when those giant movers are in there and it's a much more active site, the danger level goes way up, and the contractor is required to have a safe site, so they're the ones driving the fencing and the language and getting the message out, and the chief of police wanted us to be absolutely clear, what happens if you're caught in there, you will be prosecuted. He said, there's no bones about it, get it on the sign, because they will prosecute, because it's so dangerous, if someone were to be killed in there, I mean, that would just be, or even severely injured. The other thing that happens too is that these sites are magnets for theft, for vandalism, and kids going in, and we don't want kids in there. When kids go into an area that's been graded, they'll disturb the survey sticks, lose a whole day of work, and then go back and put them all back in. So it's very serious, and we have a camera up in there, so you'll be held to pay if we have mischief in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we won't be able to, I mean, that's not us, that's the cops and the contractor. Yeah.
Taking a half step back, we were talking about Stacy and fencing, and stargazing, is this a step in the direction perhaps of removing the fencing
Yes.
right there?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. The fencing is gonna come down.
It is gonna come down.
The fencing's gonna come down. The fence on the southern end is all gonna be, we're not taking the southern fence down.
Sure, but the
Yeah.
bottom.
But the old one and the Warson, that fence is coming down. We can't afford to take it down yet, but it's, when we can afford it, it's coming down. The front will probably come down to construction at some point. We are gonna take our own sections down in the back, just in a slow way, and I put a capital project out there for a new fence. I wanna have a split rail fence there, and then the plants planted along it. Yeah, because it'd be too easy for them to just drive willy-nilly in there off the horse, so you have to have some sort of visual barrier.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. Somebody, maybe Jim Person and maybe a craftsman, so.
I can explain the vehicles. I mean, it's a white Prius and a silver truck.
So
Maybe you have a plan.
the fence along Ollie is problematic because there has to be some sort of a fence there. We want it to be, an attractive fence, but that is gonna be an incredibly costly thing, and we don't have it right there.
That's not part of this, Park project.
No, that fence is gonna, we're talking seriously.
Okay. So you had fun at county council.
We did, and so last night, Stacy Park received a resolution commending the city of Olivet for Stacy Park being designated an urban night sky place. So it was very, very nice of them. I'll send you all the wording of it. It was wonderful.
And no one voted against it.
No one voted, it was unanimous. Okay, and that's all I have,
Okay, thank you. Maxine.
Nope,
Oh, okay.
nope, there she is.
Maxine. Council report?
So I hurt my back, so I keep standing up to stretch it.
Oh,
That's
that's very nice.
that's why I keep moving around tonight. So I spent the day on a heating pad. So I just wanted to tell you, we had 7 really amazing interviews last night with potential city council members. And Rick Knox was chosen as our new council member. He was sworn in before the coffee with the mayor this morning, but we'll do a more, because we have to do it within a certain amount of time. And also we wanted to swear him in because we don't have a meeting with Thanksgiving coming up for a couple weeks. So we will do a more formal swearing in of him publicly at our next meeting. So it was really fascinating to be a part of this interview process. There were some themes, I think, that as a council that align with our goals, and some themes that we heard that people see as a priority that we have to, look into deeper and do some more digging and homework on. Of course, the parks people raved about at all levels. Last Saturday, someone jumped to last Saturday with the groundbreaking. It was amazing. I think that it was great to see everyone there. And Bev, what an event. And you should be so proud. And Jim, you spoke so eloquently. It was really a great event. And there's already pictures up on the website, so it was fun. And then city council is, we're really dealing with, pushing out the turkey trot, helping, people are going to be up there to give out the check next Thursday morning. If you haven't registered, please do so. And if you would like to volunteer and come help, we need more people. And then also we have been, just there's all the development on Olive. It's moving along. Everything is happening, some faster than others. And then I'm trying to think what else has been going on. We just have so much. So we've been doing, and then one of the other things that we're talking about at our next workshop that we already started to have an in-depth public discussion after our last workshop is about whether we, as a council, are going to implement a mandate on the vaccination for the staff. And that's one of the things that have currently on our plate that we're looking at. Things are good, just very busy. And I think that we're very fortunate as a council to have such great directors and such as Bev. I'm telling you, if anyone wasn't, I think everyone was there last weekend, but it was just, you couldn't leave. It was as cold as it was, you couldn't leave feeling warm in your heart. It was just that great. So kudos to everyone. And Don, you're included in that awesomeness.
Thank you.
Any questions of Maxine? Okay, we'll move on then to the Park Master Plan implementation, where we are.
Great, so we have an updated timeline now. You may have noticed on the sign at the groundbreaking that we are now telling people grand opening early 2023. So what we originally were going to accept the building in November, have our grand opening in December, but due to supply chain difficulties, we've pushed that back a month. So we're pretty confident on that right now. The steel is ordered. The steel is the really big thing that is going to take, that really dictates our schedule. So far, all of the subcontractors have been they're on time, they're projected to be on time. So really that is the big thing. And again, with our playgrounds also, getting those playground orders in, because all the playgrounds are taking an incredibly long time. So we've updated the timelines for this, and these are on the web. So I put that up today. I'm going to be working on updating the website next week with all of our beautiful park illustrations. So we'll start pushing that out. And our park illustrations are now mounted up in the lobby of the community center, so people can go by and see them. We still haven't put the finish table out. I'll work on that. Get through Turkey Trot, and then we'll put up the display there. We're going to also have the pages that go with each park mounted next to them. And perhaps I'm thinking about maybe even doing a QR code so you can actually get the whole document there as well. And then we'll have the binders there so you can go and see them. It's kind of a shame because we're not getting the foot traffic to the community center that we did pre-pandemic, but hopefully as we get through the winter and people, as virus load goes down and people get out and about more, we'll have more people come through. And I would anticipate that people will come just because they want to see it. And I think people are going to come by to see the construction as well. So people,
Is there any thought about putting at least part of that presentation or rotating it and putting some here at the civic center or whatever?
We've had it here for a long time and no one's come to see it. So I want the finished samples with the illustrations because it's too hard. I mean, we could rotate them around, but I don't know.
Well, I think part of the problem before was that they were in the council chambers and not out in the hallway. And I was thinking if we had a couple of easels out just so that people could see what was going on, it might That
We
might,
could, yeah, we
because
could,
there's a lot of foot traffic through there.
there is, and not a lot of residents, we can definitely do that. So we could have maybe 2 boards and consolidate them all into 2. can't put 7 boards down.
No, I understand, I was just thinking to kind of spread it around.
Yeah, we can, I'm doing only thing.
And they are on the webpage.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all virtual.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm like, I saw the nice big sign today in the community center, and I was kind of wondering, well, maybe there was, and I was, anyway, what you call it, like QR code that could.
There's not. There are boards that I'm putting up that are city boards that are going to go next to that, and they're also going to have a spike realtor box with periodic updates in the realtor box.
Oh, that's great, that's
Yeah.
good, that's good.
Yeah, so that'll be at each park.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
and those all get stuck into after Thanksgiving as well. And so, yeah, it'll be nice. They'll look a little bit like that, but it'll be park specific with the illustration. And then the timeline, and then periodically go out and do updates on it. Yeah, and those will have a QR code.
And those will go in before construction starts.
Correct. The community center ones are late because we keep
Right.
changing.
Sure.
Yeah, so, city park timeline, we are going to go out to bid in December. So we are very close right now. Actually, we're gonna place the order for the playgrounds separate from the bid because we need to get them in production and on their way because they have a lot of metal in them. The big indoor playground actually comes from Europe, so that one has a longer lead time. Most of the other park components come from Canada. So they're much closer. The elephant play is, they are running a little bit behind. All of the furnishings, the benches, tables, the trash bins, things like that, I'm not quite sure where they come from. And we may order those. We did a big grant for that with, the county has the solid waste, grant. So we put in a big grant that hopefully, if we're successful, will pay for all of the trash and recycling for all of the parks. So we're pretty, fingers crossed, because those puppies are expensive. Okay, what do I got next? The park house is demolished, it is gone. And it was very satisfying to see that come down. So you can walk down the trail at Orson and see, you can see straight through to the street, which is amazing. The city's Instagram page, that's my Instagram page. So I posted both locations, so I don't think I put that one in there. But you definitely go see it. It's a beautiful site. The ground out there changes daily right now because they're clearing so much honeysuckle and taking down dead trees and pulling back. So I encourage you all to keep walking down there. Dawn has a time-lapse camera set up. So as we start knitting that together, we're going to start pushing out the time-lapse on the website as well. And we're going to do, we bought 2 time-lapse cameras. One's at the community center through construction. The other one will move around from park to park as things are going on. So there is a finesse to the software of knitting together all of these little videos to make one big video. So if anybody's interested in assisting with that, I know Dawn would probably be very appreciative because when we have 2 cameras going, it's going to be a lot. But it's very similar to what we did here at the city center. Same camera.
Yeah.
Same type.
I'm confused. You said that we could go down and see in Warson, but then I'm also hearing that it's closed.
Well, what I'm saying is the construction site is closed. Anything behind the fence, you can't go see.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, but you can see it really well from the pathway, because the
Okay.
pathway is elevated. So you go walk down the
The
pathway.
pathway's still open.
The pathway is still open, it's not closed. There will be a time when it's closed, but not right
Got it.
now. But there are sections of pathway that are closed in the parking lot. So all those sidewalks are closed.
Question here, and this is adjacent to the Park House demolition. I am getting there are more conversations going on Granby Drive over the increased public vehicle traffic on Granby Drive. And in that, conversations about the building going in the lower driveway, and this is Peter and Jessica, last name, and yes, I talk about it too, because people come up and ask me, they have answers. Wondering if there is either some kind of opportunity to offer some kind of public forum to provide some feedback on the look and feel of that Parks Works area. How that will be put in, what's it gonna look like when it's done.
You've seen it, you've absolutely seen it, it's been in all of your plans and concepts. It's gonna look very much like the community center, it's got the same split face CMU, all of that, it's a very nice looking building.
So I got it. The question is communicating that out to these people, give these people a place to go where they can see.
Absolutely, tell them to call me, absolutely, I talk to Peter on a regular basis, he hasn't mentioned it, but next time I see him, I'll talk to him.
Yeah,
for sure.
it hasn't been, it's been more.
And I'd be more than happy if you, next time you have a homeowners association, I'd be more than happy to give a presentation of it. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's been nothing vehement or critical, it's been, oh, wow.
But I have to say that the Parks vehicles came to the community center multiple times a day, it's not an increase. And yet their break room, their mailbox, the office is there, so they have been, there's not an increase. There will be way less traffic on Grandview when the community center comes down.
Yeah.
So there'll be no customers at all coming to that section, only park goers, so there will be a significant decrease in traffic in the long run.
Well, I think to your point, people are witnessing the change and have been making note of it in light of the fact that there hasn't been any traffic to the community center for quite a while during COVID, et cetera. But I think you've given me the talking points though that I can use.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, call me anytime, and yeah.
Help in getting a look at that from a materials used, whether or not.
So the material samples are in the community center and they can come touch them and feel them. It's that very nice split face CMU. It looks really nice. It's the exact same that's on the community center.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll
And have a metal roof, because so we're not putting, so the community center itself has a horrible flat ugly roof. This one's gonna have a nice expensive metal roof that we're gonna have to wait for to get, because it comes from overseas, but it'll be like a, it'll be almost the same roof that the pavilion has.
yeah,
The other new pavilion, yeah, it'll be very nice.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. All right, good. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely, so, yeah, definitely, when next time I see Peter, I'll, because he walks his dog in the park every day. So, I'll talk to him, and then is it Judy?
It's, there's the Grimauds, there's a whole list of folks.
Okay,
Judy Griffith across the street.
Oh, yeah, Judy Griffith, yeah.
All these folks
okay,
are, and quite frankly, so am I. And I think just be an interesting conversation to have.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I can bring the plans to the, to your homeowners association meeting, have you had your one for the year yet?
Yeah, so that's out there, but more to come. So
Okay,
I'm gonna
okay.
take up the more time.
Sure, no problem.
All right.
And what we're doing on the time, before we do the timeline,
Yeah,
probably, so I'm confused by something, so the pathway in Morrison Park, is that phase one?
so I gave you guys the big spreadsheet, let me see if I can get to it. It'll take me a minute, let me stop, let's see if I can find it. In the meantime, let me put up the groundbreaking, Don, can you put up the, if I send you a link, can you put the groundbreaking pictures while
Yep.
I'm looking
Yep.
for that, I'll send you the link. You remember the login? It's City Hall event and then Grandview.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is that getting conflicting information on when that's actually happening.
It has adjusted a little bit.
That's,
Slightly.
Yeah. I know it was in a previous meeting, but I can't remember which one, so I'm going into our shared I'm opening the giant construction drawing. Okay, so then it's really huge file. There we go.
Okay.
And then if you wanna show something bigger, you just click on it.
All right. So here, we'll zoom in on Ed.
There's Ed.
Ed looks warm. Rob dressed way warmer than the rest of us, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
And these are the boards that are hanging around the 7 easels.
Yeah, they kept blowing over, so. Yeah. That's our engineer, Jennifer. She wore the best hat.
Yeah.
That is in the purple, that's Angelica Gutierrez. She's the engineering project manager for Great Rouge Greenway, and she's in charge of the Centennial Greenway extension. And then on the right is Jen Kissinger. She was the project manager for this building. She works for Navigate. That is, next to her is Jessica Vaughn. She has just come on board as the project manager for the community center specific.
Bev,
She works.
Bev,
with-
are you sharing that?
Project manager.
It should be. Oh, hold on, wait a second. Can you not?
Thank you.
All right. Why can they not see that?
See, can start sharing with someone else's,
It's all
see.
participants.
Hit the other,
Yeah,
share screen
yeah.
at the bottom,
Yeah,
not that one, the one next to it.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you did because I thought you could see it. Okay, all right, hold on, let me get rid of that. Okay,
there you go. Can you see it now, Sue?
No, it says you started sharing, but he hasn't put the document there.
Oh, you might have it,
here it says I'm sharing
wait,
the
stop
screen.
sharing for a second.
There you go. Thank you.
Oh, you got it?
It's-
Okay. Oh, it's
The
still.
delay, the delay.
Okay.
Here, we can get out.
Yeah, you
of
can make it small and just zoom to the commissioners.
Speech. Jim,
There's a
speech.
commissioner.
Hmm.
Yeah, then you can scroll past me and go to the digging. There we go. Okay, commission is coming up. Oh, that right there.
Do that one. Nope,
Nope, next
that's
one.
council. That's council.
There we go. That's the commission. And then the next one should have Mary Kay in it. Oh, keep going, keep going. Keep going,
Should have
keep going.
shovel for your office.
Not turning the shovel. We have plenty. There's Mary
There's
Kay.
Mary Kay.
There she is. There's the whole commission. Woo-hoo! That was awesome. Very good. And then that's the whole Parks and Rec staff. Missing Jan, sadly. And then I love this one.
It's a great.
That's a great picture.
This one's my favorite.
That was terrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got the phasing if you want me to.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Don, thanks for doing that. All right, here we go. Got it. All right. Sue, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Okay, so, The phasing's a little crazy, so the community center itself, that area is phase 2A. Centennial Greenway is 2B. Tearing down the Park House was phase 1B. Phase 1A was creating the new ADA accessible pathway around the ball field, and that one is not, didn't start first. So that one's gonna, right now they're doing the tree work in there, and then they're gonna start, but they're gonna stop it right here. Originally, we thought this whole pathway would go in first, but what the contractor is doing is they're gonna wait, they're gonna wait until the building is torn down because they're afraid that if they build this section, it will be damaged during demolition. So they don't wanna do this grading here until they do this, because it will require closing off the playground and doing some of the other things in here. So they wanna hold back on this and do this final section last when they do the splash pad and everything else.
So the other, so there's nothing that's gonna happen in this one.
In this area, not here, but this will.
Yeah,
That's gonna also, when you say
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
there, it's starting at
it's-
the other end.
It's
it-
gonna start here,
yeah, they're gonna start at
This
the
is gonna
opposite
go-
end
yeah.
and come towards us.
Cause I'm thinking it was getting kind of late to be pouring asphalt, but they're confident they can get
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I think they're gonna start grading this pretty quick. We still have to move, there's a tree down here we have to move, but they're gonna stop short of that, so we don't, but we still need to move in the winter time for this one. Yeah,
They're gonna try to work around that.
you mean the little chestnut, whatever it is?
Yeah,
Yeah, Brian, please, I think he really wants to move it.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll have to rent a space.
yeah, that's not even.
It's a little bit bigger than that.
Thank you, I'm just curious, because I've been hearing conflicting reports and then
Yeah,
people wanting to know when that section's gonna be closed and.
yeah,
I've heard November, and then I actually talked to John at one point earlier, he thought it would be in March. And so
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clarification. Thank you.
yeah, so yeah, it has been very confusing, and when we go to the owner, architect, contractor meetings. They're 2 hours long, there is a lot of moving parts on this. Kind of crazy, but this is done, check, demo, done. Then they're cleared all of this honeysuckle through here, and now they're working on these clearing down in here. And then they're gonna start doing clearing back over in here.
What areas is that?
The dead trees, honeysuckle, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening on this end where the greenway comes through here, they're doing a lot of clearing here. Yeah, so they're gonna start chipping tomorrow, and they wanna know, do you want all of those chips? I don't think you want all of those chips.
No, probably not. I haven't really tackled the file that you have at Stacy right now, so.
Okay, so you want me to tell them, haul them away? I think we're gonna. haul
I'll
those
regret it
chips.
3 years from now.
Yeah, probably will before I add up. Yeah.
And there's gonna be more to come.
Yeah.
I mean, they dropped the big tree today that was right here. So that one was dropped today and it's huge. So they started.
Yeah, that tree broke my heart. That tree, when I went to California, that tree was still in plans, but because of the grading that's gonna happen there, there's too much of a hill. Yeah, I was very sad about that. Have they taken the pin out of the circle yet?
No.
When I come back,
Oh, this one to go up?
yeah, we're gonna put 3 river bushes there. They're afraid because of all the grading that's gonna happen in there. And they're putting in the rain garden that it would kill the tree, so. Plus, it's.
I'm sure they have a system, but your tree.
But
and
we're
that-
saving our tree,
I know, but they both have the same exact, in my eyes, red paper on
they
it.
don't,
And it
So
looks,
we're-
all I can say is it looks like this.
I agree, I'm very
I'm like,
disappointed.
how do they tell the difference?
So there's pink and there's orange,
Okay,
and
there's
I
no
am
difference.
so tempted to bring in green to put around the trees for saving, because that is ridiculous. You cannot tell.
The green means go.
Yeah, oh, jeez, yeah, see, I don't know.
See, so, yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
It-
it's really-
it- For a colorblind person as myself, it is difficult. I have to walk up to them.
Yeah, well, and then they fade with sun.
That doesn't help
The
either.
red turns pink in sun.
Yes, that is
So do you
true,
have to-
that is true, yeah, so, yes.
Sorry, another self-serving.
Sure.
Just go down, please. So,
I can zoom in.
and I don't know how to address this at this point. I mean, it's phase 3, so we've got to get through 2 and 1 and 2 first. But I'm assuming that this drawing right here is representative of the sewer line for this
Yes.
property, which I happen to live in, but, which is very old. And I'm assuming a project manager's got that as a line item.
Oh, yeah,
somewhere on the
absolutely.
project
I mean,
list.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
you know, but when it breaks, because and it's not a when, if it should go down during construction. How? I'm trying to call this out.
Okay, so let me point out to you, that's not the sewer line. It's very close, but that is something else. I don't know what that is.
Okay,
But your sewer line connects in up here,
right,
and you got a straight line to your house.
yeah,
It's marked on all of the layers. And there is no grading happening in here
okay.
Because of that reason.
because of the heavy.
Yeah. We,
Yeah.
they were
So-
starting it, and then we
Everything-
shifted it away from that.
And then the reason that the maintenance building is this side and not over here is because of the big storm drain here.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that these little holders here are here also. And then this whole building is split face CMU, so it looks good to the neighbors.
Yeah, it's a nice, it's well
Yeah.
thought out.
And you have big trees here. I'd like to take away all of this honeysuckle. We've got a lot of honeysuckle in here. But until I have money to replant, I'm not pulling it out. But when we pull it out, then we can weed warrior it. We'll help you get it out of there. Because otherwise it'll reseed into our new garden. Yeah, and then I think I told you I want to take your honeysuckle over here, but we haven't had weed warriors yet, but we're taking it. I know you don't care, right?
On the common fence,
Yeah,
Yeah, if they get it graded, I get it,
okay. We can loan you a dauber, you
Just
cut it out.
get in there and install it.
Yeah.
And electric chainsaw.
You bet. There you go.
Yeah, I think that you will be pleasantly surprised at how nice this is. Yeah.
I am, it's convincing Mrs. Fordham that she's going to have a throughout the course of this construction project. Or let's put it this way, reassure.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we can always walk across.
You
I'll
absolutely.
let you tell her.
Okay.
I'll go
Alright.
hide.
Okay, and then the final concepts you've all seen. I've got Stacy Park Pavilion for you.
So thanks for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. With the caveat on the pavilion that I don't have the stone on here.
But the stone is the same.
And the council is in complete agreement with the final.
Are you sharing that?
Yeah, I'm trying to, not yet, I'm trying to get to it. I
Okay,
have too many windows open, my apologies. Now I can't find it.
I'm the share
Okay,
police.
I got it, here I come, I found it.
Yay.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the final roof line. They elongated it based on the Parks and Recreation Commission feedback.
That was the
We will
part I,
have-
Bev, that was the part I forgot to share in my report, was that the council unanimously voted for the same one.
Repeat that.
The council unanimously voted for the same plan and thought that the commission did.
So this does not show the stone yet, the final stone, we're working on getting a rendering of that. It'll be similar to the stone on the outside of the community center, but a smaller size stone to keep it in more in proportion with, why am I not? Oh. So here you can really see that they flattened out that roof line to give you a little bit more of what you were asking for, Ed, with the flower.
Elongated.
He should have something.
There will be, this is the footprint. So what you can't, what's hard to see here is there's going to be wood on the underside. Oops. Sorry, I'm
Huh?
trying to zoom in. So.
The ceiling will be
here on-
wood?
On the underside of the eaves will be wood. And then the metal roof over the top. So when you're sitting in under the pavilion, you're gonna look up and see wood, which is gonna be a really nice look. It's going to be a dark green, not this color. This color is evergreen, we chose a different green. And then it will not be glacier white frame. It's more of a creamy color. I'll get you those samples at the next meeting, you'll see them. And then the stone will come up. Where's my cursor? Ah! There we go. So the stone will come up through here. I've asked them to look at these drains, the roof drains. I don't want them spilling out onto the concrete here. I want them flowing over here, so they're looking to see if we can afford that. Because I really don't want to create a big puddle of water on our concrete. So
They're outside of this stone, or they go in here, or the stone surround the.
the stone surrounds, the stone surrounds.
The downside?
I
Yes.
think so, because, yes,
Yes.
the stone surrounds the downspout, but I don't want the downspout to dump here, I want it to run under the concrete and be dropped off over in the.
No, I was just asking, and then
Yeah.
is there a, what's the, do you know if there's a kind of ledge or something? It's not like how.
There is, there'll be a plinth around the
But it
top.
wasn't as large as what we've seen. in this
No,
one.
it'll be more narrow, yeah, because we really want it to be in proportion. Yeah, and then we're still going through all the detail of what needs to happen with the restrooms that we're retaining. So as all of you have heard over the years, we have a lot of sewer backup in there, a lot of problems, and we discovered the problem is when it was renovated the last time, the pipe opened back, kind of would flow backwards. So our clogs were going towards the kitchen instead of towards the sewer. And so what's happening is they're gonna jackhammer out the concrete in the restrooms and replumb it. So we'll have fresh plumbing down there, and that is fan-flippantastic. I'm so excited about that. Then we're still working on costing of new partitions and fixtures inside and replacing the ceiling inside. We want to take care of all that. We're gonna have probably brand new heaters already that we're putting in now that will be able to retain because of the one's failing right now. We'd like the roof to match the pavilion, and we'd like the color scheme to match as well. So we're looking at that too and making sure that they look like they are related and not just an ugly cousin twice removed out on the side. We'll make sure they look cohesive and nice, but I don't have drawings of that yet.
Remember Keisha asked for the gas fan in this.
We're gonna have fans in it for sure. They may not be big ass fans, because we might not be able to afford them, but there will be fans. The placebo fans.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, after we had the discussion about the big ass fans, I was at the Cardinal game and I sent a picture to Maxine of the big ass fans that they had at Bush Stadium. They got the donkey on them. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
It's a lot. I apologize that it's taking forever, but that's quick.
Okay. Okay, next thing we have commission reports. I have not had anything in that meantime, but I wanted to take this opportunity to talk. I know last year we were talking about doing things with, I think 5 different areas. And as I look back on it, I pushed that, but I think it was probably a little ambitious for what we could do and given everyone's schedule and so forth. And so what I would like to do is propose that we get 3 groups together for the next for the next year, and hopefully we can get some work going on it. But as you look down in future agenda items, there's several things that we need to really closely look at. And it's also related to the
community center opening and a lot of different things on that. So one of the things that's gonna make the community center work, staff, we have staff and doing things. We need to amp up our volunteer activity. And in doing that, what we like to do is we've got lists of various jobs, but we don't have job descriptions. I realize everybody kind of gags when we get into job descriptions, because it's an HR thing, but we're not looking at those kinds of things. We're looking at things that we can show folks coming in and saying, here's what you can do. Or here's the opportunities we have. And Rob and I were talking the other day about how we do that. If you really want to be involved, we'll have something for you. If you kind of want to come in periodically, we'll have something for you. And if you want to just do a one-shot deal, we can do that. And I think as we work through the categories of those things, either in the park or the community center or whatever, I really think that it's something that we can do. So I'd like to see a group of us work on that, and I'll give us some caveats to that in a minute. As we look at contributions and memorials to the park, that's kind of a one-off thing. I mean, there's two pieces to this one. One is kind of identifying what we have for memorials, and then the second piece of that is coordinating the contributions. So I know at this point, Beverly, someone calls up Beverly and says, I want to give a bench, or I want to give a tree, or I want to do that. What I think we need to do as a commission is to look at what we're sort of codifying that. I mean, we don't want to become rigid with it, but at the same time saying, okay, you want to give $100, here's what it is. If it's $1,000, here's what you get. And then look at that, and then also probably moving down the pipe on that is to look at memorials in the park. It's not as much of an issue right now, but just to kind of get an inventory of those. So that would be a second area. And then the third area is to look at fees, because we're going to have a lot more fee activity related around the community center. And I'm told that the park staff has a spreadsheet on fees at various centers. But it would be helpful if we can get more than just park staff, because they've got a lot on their plates to be to help all around and say, what are your fees? And so we can kind of get them so that we're at a community standard. Because I don't know from the budget standpoint in terms of what percentage of fees are going to, is it pretty much like the trash fees where it's a 40-60, fees will cover 40% and the city covers 60%, or?
No, it's a little different than that, but yeah.
But I think you get the idea, and then as we get the working groups together, so I'm proposing 3 working groups. One of the things with the wonderful sunshine laws, I think we can only get 3 people together at a time, without calling a meeting and creating an agenda and putting things out and doing all of this. So we're looking for three folks for each one. We could have some overlap. I'll probably play across some of those. But what I would like to do is in the next week, I will send out information to the commissioners. And if you could be thinking about what areas that are of interest to you, and then I will put this out in a more narrative form for the commission. Yes.
Yeah, I want to just be really clear on the grouping. So You are not allowed to meet with more than 3 people. But that means that your working group is 3 people and those 3 people only. So if there are 3 commissioners assigned to that, another commissioner can't drop in if one other is not gonna be there. Because then it will be 4 people sharing that same information, and then that becomes a serial meeting. So, once you establish who it is, then those will be the 3 that always go to those meetings, and they'll be the ones that get the report to the larger commission. But I commend you for setting this up and formalizing it, because I think it'll be a lot more efficient. People will be able to come to the meeting and just give a report and a recommendation rather than having a discussion by the whole commission on this item. So I think that's fantastic. And we're very thankful for any assistance you give us.
So as a point of clarification, we have a group of 3 people, say on fees.
Yes.
Can other people make phone calls
Oh, you mean asking for the fees?
asking for the fees?
Yeah, if they are only putting it into the spreadsheet and not part of a discussion, yes, because if it's a Google
Okay.
Doc, then people can put it, but they cannot ever discuss it with another commission.
Got the picture, but we can say, here, we need these columns filled out on this row, on this spreadsheet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. It's very easy, but we have to do phone calls. You cannot rely on the websites of these other agencies. They're not up to date, they're not accurate. And there's always nuances and rules that they apply that are not on the website. So that's why we have to have people make calls.
Okay.
And there is an opportunity to be stealth and go get fees from some agencies that refuse to share those. Unless you go in and get a tour and they tell you the fees. So
So
Yes.
yeah, so if you want to get some tours to see some other facilities, that would be good too.
absolutely.
So I will be sending out a communication in the next week about this.
Sure. Well, on here. Just, you mentioned earlier the community sports program. Sure. That's something important to mention that. Is that something that the office currently has the ability to do?
Yes.
Or is that it is that?
Yeah, we have a paid survey monkey account.
All right.
So we've already have a survey that's gone out for soccer, and we're using that. And then when we start doing the small focus groups, the staff will do that, or do that.
All
We
right.
may ask for assistance from another commissioner, but that it doesn't need to be a working group.
All right, so that's not a potential.
Okay.
Energy.
So we'll see that, what I would like to do, and I will try to be more diligent in nudging people to see where we are and to make sure that we've got things so that we don't have to put these items into future agenda items, but we will discuss the outcomes of our meetings at the full commission.
Yeah, and the park memorial, finding out what we have is really important, because we're about to start, Stacy's where they all are. We're about to do massive renovations in there, we need to know before we break down in March, so there's a time.
There's a winter project there, folks.
Yeah, it's a lot easier in winter too, it's less overgrown.
So, that is, I think that covers pretty much things that it does not deal with the rental use. I think we'll defer that to staff and with recommendations. And, so as we move forward.
So just a quick mention on the fees, so we have recommended fees to charge from the pro forma for the new community center, that's an established document, we have that. But we also have, a lot has happened since then, with the pandemic. So it's important that we know what other agencies are charging, both for memberships, but then also for rentals, because we're gonna have to completely change our rental. The fee rentals are not in the format, it only addresses memberships. So Ed and probably Rob, remember the last time we went through the fees, so staff wrote a report, delivered it showing what are our current fees, what are our neighboring cities and our comparable cities doing? And then the commission just helped discuss and craft our recommendation that went to council. And then council sent it back to Park and then went back again. So it was a very good process. So we're gonna do that same process.
Now, will that be a step, or do you want us to pull that into the fee?
Well, the gathering of those fees is really important that the commission help with that because that's a laborious process.
Okay,
And we have to move the speed. So
So-
it's our plan to have our fees established by council in the new fiscal year, July 1, earlier if we can. So that is a really quick window. We can't drag our heels on, we've got to get moving on this. Because part of that too is that gathering that information is what are other places doing as far as families, seniors, individuals, corporate, all of that. Some of that's in the performance, some's not, but we don't wanna be so far out of whack like in comparison to say Clayton or Maryland Heights or some of those other ones around us. So it's going to, it's a robust project, but it's really important. And it's timely, we gotta get moving
what
on.
I would do is I will create a draft, send it to you to make sure that we've got all the bases covered.
Perfect.
Then I will distribute that to the commission and we'll move from there.
Terrific. You know, I mean, it sounds dry, but it's actually gonna be really exciting because it touches all aspects of our operation.
Okay, I'm cognizant of the time. Rob, did you have? Okay, good. We'll go through the dates, turkey trot.
Is everybody registered? Is everybody participating or volunteering?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
It'd be great if you could be a commission photo at that event in shirts. That would be so cool.
And I know, packet pickup is next Tuesday and Wednesday.
Correct.
I don't know whether Barb and company need help with that.
They do.
We
They
do.
do. If anybody's
So-
interested in volunteering, they'll
So
take it.
if you have nothing else going on, that would be good. Next meeting of the Parks Commission is on December 15th. Kids Night Out is on December 17th. I don't know, if there've been registrations.
There have been, yes.
Kids night out is full.
It's full.
Yep.
It filled in the
It filled
first like 48 hours.
Yep.
How many is that?
32, I think is what it is.
That's great.
Kids night out, parents night off.
Yep.
That's a winning combination. And then the Light Hop is December 13th to the 26th, and that sign up is through Parks.
Yeah, you sign
Yep.
up on our website and it goes, I think you have to sign up by, I don't know what day you sign up by. So like the 10th or something.
And
Yeah.
do we have people sign up?
We have 3.
Okay. And then the next Parks meeting is on January 19th. Are there any other items that need to come before the commission tonight?
They can't, it's not on the agenda.
Art, oh yeah. Art, does anybody have any?
Yes, it's not on the agenda.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Can I motion to adjourn? A second, all in favor, say aye. Yeah, was opposed? Okay, thank you all.
Sue.
Best wishes, all right.